Welcome to Inside the Sound Chamber. My name is Don Simmons. Thank you so much for being here. We're getting ready for the International Sound Therapy Association conference, and this is going to be an amazing moment. It's going to be September the 20th through the 22nd, and we've got a great lineup of speakers. But this particular speaker that we have right now, her name is Roxanne Lowrey, is probably one of the most important events that I feel for the entire conference. She's going to be talking on the code of ethics. I always think if you don't have ethics, where are you going to go? You got to have something to stand for. So let me tell you a little bit about Roxanne. Roxanne Lowrey is a certified therapeutic sound practitioner, licensed healing minister, and a gifted musician who has devoted 40 years to explore consciousness transformation and creative expression. Through the International Sound Therapy Association, ISTA, she is a certified therapeutic sound practitioner. With Mitch Nur's 9 Ways Academia, she is a credentialed Gong teacher with certifications in sound therapy and gongs, and completed her Sound Healers Advanced Training with Tom Kenyon in 1996. Roxanne started working with intentional sounds in 1994. She recorded 12 albums of spontaneous compositions on the Spiritus Sanctus label and provided live music for Kenyon's first Grand Teton Conclave with her musical partner, Aaliyah Stevens. As a facilitator and practitioner with vast experience in many modalities, including kinesiology, the reunion process, PSYCH-K, the Reconnection, Reconnective Healing, and Auric Light Alchemy, her work and training has taken her into the depths of transpersonal growth, the human potential movement with clients and workshops. Using ambient sound therapy to create immersive experiences, she blends artistic musical explorations with transformational awareness to create an atmosphere for sonic and vibratory revelations of body, mind, and spirit. Roxanne works with sound, vibration, and frequency to create both an opening to an expanded sense of peace and wholeness, and a space for deeper interconnection between self and source. She founded Infinite Flow, her private practice in Atlanta, in 2017. I will say that I've known Roxanne for a very long time. We've been friends for some time, going back all the way to the film industry. And I've worked with her very closely. And I will say, I cannot think of anyone more suited to talk about the code of ethics than Roxanne Lowrey. Roxanne, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Don. I'm just delighted to be here. ISTA, let me say, first of all, ISTA means a lot to me. I did go through the therapeutic sound practitioner training in 2017, and it's the gold standard of sound practitioner trainings out there. And it's the foundation upon which I stand. So
It
ISTA
is
means a
really,
lot.
yeah,
Very
it means a lot to us for you to be here to represent really a new blooming of ISTA. And so this is just a really fantastic thing. And what you are talking on, as we were talking earlier, it's not something you've done, it's something you are. And the code of ethics is so valuable. And they say if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And this is why it's so important. Walk me through the process of how and why this code of ethics came about for ISTA.
Absolutely. I'm delighted to do that. In our training, one of our modules involved talking about ethics, a deep dive into ethics. And part of our work between our modules was to get together in groups of 4 and create our code of ethics to put forth to the group. After our graduation and completion, we were asked by Mandara Cromwell, the founder, to actually assemble, using that as a platform, to assemble a code of ethics for ISTA. And there were several of us from that program that project was spearheaded by Sherry Blanc. And we worked on that together to actually create the foundation, the deep roots for which ISTA continued to grow and bloom during that time.
That is just really an amazing thing when you really think about where it came from, thin air and the heart. You were very immersive in the therapeutic program with ISTA. At what point in time did you start working on the ethics? Was that in the beginning or towards the end, or where?
You know, it's interesting. Our instructors for that program, Wendy Price and Stephanie Rooker, talked about ethics in our first module. So they planted those seeds. And as we went through it, on the fourth module is when we went into a deeper dive on ethics, as we were talking about the realm of being a practitioner, beyond what you're doing with the instruments, but actually working with the instrument of the self. So between that fourth module and the fifth module from which we graduated, that's that period that we had 2 months to really dive in. And it was interesting to see how in my group, each one of the four of us had a different approach, almost as if it's a diamond, and each of us entered through a different facet. So it was an amazing experience to discover what our value, each individual value was, what we held, and then to find the places where it comes together to create the code of ethics that represents
Yeah,
the group, the community.
the group, not just the group of your class, but the group of ISTA overall.
Yes.
What is it? You look at code of ethics in other organizations, and there's something very magical about, for example, a mission statement and a code of ethics, because as you put it out into the universe, you become. What is it about these code of ethics that will help guide ISTA into the future?
I'd like to address what it will guide ISTA to, as well as what it will guide each practitioner to. So if I can talk about the individual first.
Yes.
Basically, it's like using, the ancient mariners would use sextants to look at the stars to have them guide through. That's the sense I get. Each of us individually can use a code of ethics to actually navigate our way through not only our life, but our practice and how we care for those that are our clients or our audience. I think it's vital to have a connection to something that's sacred and holy, and ethics fits right into that. In terms of the organization for ISTA, I think that the code of ethics are critical, essential. Let's go beyond that to essential. We're in a way of work. I don't want to say a profession or an occupation, but it's in that realm. We are in work that is not licensed necessarily in the United States. Let's talk about the United States. That's an easy one since we're meeting there this week. It's not licensed or necessarily credentialed by governmental or external agencies. So it is incumbent upon ourselves to create that. There's no legislation or no external force that says that this has to be created. It's actually taking responsibility for oneself and saying, this is the bedrock, this is the firmament upon which we stand. Holding ourselves to a level of responsibility and guidance and commitment, I think is primary.
I completely agree with you. I love the way you put it, because it is the firmament by which we will stand. Many years ago, certainly, it was my age to a certain degree, being a massage therapist was just right on the edge of acceptability. Hypnotherapy, same thing. Chiropractic, just not too long ago, was considered really outside of the realm of the healing. It took brave men and women to say, this is where we're standing, this is our place. And what you and the rest of you have put together is that sacred ground by which we will grow. When
Absolutely. I love that you use the word grow. Um, because we know that there are so many people that are moving into sound work, either coming in to become practitioners or as clients being attracted to sound as the next complementary therapy available. How profound that we are the leading edge of our growth, that we actually take it upon ourselves to say, uh, we will exceed any external expectation. We will actually hold ourselves to our own standard.
and a higher standard by which others would measure.
Absolutely.
And I think
Absolutely.
that's really important as we look at the pathway and the goal of ISTA to be the gold standard of sound therapy. That when you know that you are an ISTA certified sound practitioner, you have reached a pinnacle of not only professionalism, physically and mechanically, but also of emotionally from the heart, that ethics.
Absolutely.
As you look at the code of ethics, how many are there? How many points of ethics are there? Do you remember?
I think they're 9.
Yeah.
Done. A pop quiz. I'm not
It's a
quite
pop quiz. I'm sorry.
prepared.
That wasn't on the
Ah!
yeah, I know.
They
But
are. Go ahead.
regardless of how many there are, do you see this as what I would call a living manuscript to a certain degree, where it begins to shift, evolve, change, add, subtract, that kind of thing? And how does that work?
My it's That's interesting. I'm very excited. I'm very excited because we are going to send everyone after the conference a little take home kit to do on their own. And I'm going to save some of that for the talk. I'm very excited about that. Um, but it's actually through that lens of the work that we're all going to be able to do once we get home after the conference together. I see it as a living form that is within us. So as we grow and transform and deepen, as we begin to live this through every part of our being, it can only begin to expand outside of ourselves, not only in our practices, but our collective practices, our, um, I wish I'd come in with a word to use, but our industry, our professional group, sound workers of the world, it will grow within that because I really believe in the saying of each one teach one. So as we, ISTA, the members of ISTA, those who are touched, are actually able to turn and share that in coherence with another being, we really can have a tremendous impact upon the world of sound work.
And thereby expanding out even more like the ripples in the pond as we show up, you know, in firm of ethics and professionalism. Every person we would work with, a client or another student, they then become the frequency and vibration of the knowledge that has come from the past.
Right.
And so
And
healing the world through that.
yes, it occurs as we're in this conversation that uh, sound workers, therapeutic sound practitioners are familiar with resonance. And that's something that we create. And as a practitioner holding the container of care for our clients, our groups, we connected to something that's holy and sacred within us, but as the 3D human container that's providing the sound, we are the dominant oscillator. So it's incumbent upon us to be coherent and cohesive, energetically practicing excellent energy hygiene, because those that we are serving will become in resonance with us. And I believe my vision is that's how we will transform humanity, the planet, the world.
Wow. I'm glad this was recorded. What was that phrase, if you could remember? You talked about resonant hygiene. What was that?
Energetic hygiene.
Of course, that's what we're doing. We're doing our
Abs-
own cleaning up to be able to clean up other people. This
Absolutely.
is enlightening. Roxanne, what do you hope people walk away from the conference with your presentation?
My prayer is that there's a relationship that's formed where instead of being ethics as an abstract body of work that comes from ancient civilizations and deep in philosophy and all of that, that instead it become a living part of us, that it is a tangible, visceral, real part of us, and that we realize, whether we're awake to it or not, we can weave these golden threads into the fabric of our being and into the fabric of the work, into the fabric of the care that we offer another.
This is really phenomenal. Is there anything else you would like to add to this conversation?
I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful being on the planet at this time and having the privilege and to have the opportunity to use sound in a way, one with another, for the highest and best good for all. Man, it's the best of life. And I'm so excited to soon be in a room with so many people where we're resonating the same way.
And that is just really, it's literally going to be oscillating at such a high vibration. That is awesome. So your presentation is going to be on Saturday, I believe at 10:30, right?
And I think it's 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. Okay, 10
10 to
o'clock.
10:30.
And
Yes.
it's going to be the entire group. So everybody's going to be there. And I encourage everyone to be there. Again, this is perhaps one of the most important presentations you'll experience. This because, again, ethics is really what it's all about. How you develop this here, inside here, then makes the major impact outside.
Absolutely.
Roxanne, I've known you for so long, and every time that we have a conversation, it's always enlightening. I want to thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in Sarasota.
Thank you. Me too. Me
Thank
too.
you.
Thanks for this opportunity, and we'll see everyone soon.
Thank you.